Please give a warm welcome to Zeze.
Thank you. In 2009, I moved to South Africa from the UK. And my goal was really to try and figure out how I capture the essence of Africa in a bottle or a pump, and using scent, using indigenous ingredients, and really playing to the strengths of Africa as opposed to the weaknesses. So the people who make the products, the land who provides the amazing ingredients. And that journey sort of took me through understanding that not every brand can function within a trend. Some brands have an identity of their own. So the brand was built on creating scents that told stories about the African landscape, and using natural active ingredients that functioned outside of the commodity space. Essentially, what I set out to do was try and create the same conversation where Africa, luxury, sustainability, authenticity, all lived in the same word, or lived in the same brand. And initially that set out to be a bit of a challenge. Even your suppliers will tell you, or the people you're looking to give money to, will say to you, I'm not sure this is going to work. This is saturated, so what are you doing? And I was no different. But what I did have was tenacity and a bit of perseverance and some tough skin. And I would go in and I would consistently push for the idea that this was the product that I wanted to make. So without making this about me and making this more about a topic that I'm absolutely passionate about, sustainability for most people is a clean product without the guilt. But nonetheless, we're seeing lots of sustainable or sustainability labels being generated in the marketplace. And for a lot of brands, that poses a question, which is, what does this actually mean for us? And what does this actually mean for our end consumer? I decided to pick probably the four most important things when Nielsen did a survey on what they felt consumers cared about the most when they thought about sustainability. And the first thing was label information. And for a lot of brands, this is one thing that they probably are spending less time on as the market evolves. I know that for me, when I started Malée, the label information was something that was very important to me. And so what we did on all our packaging was make sure that you didn't need a degree to understand what was actually in the product that you were buying. This then brings us to the holy grail of brands, which is green beauty brands. And what exactly does that mean? Essentially, it's a great marketable term. It's easily achievable, and it also puts a brand in a place where sustainability is a conversation. And that green seal of approval is being provided by lots of different agencies. So there is no one agency giving any one brand a green seal of approval. And brands tend to do this, or brands in this category tend to do this through various things. So one of them is looking at green formulations, and we'll talk about what that actually means. Raw materials and source origins, and then eco-friendly and what that actually means for a green beauty brand. And lastly, the consumer perception of what cruelty-free is, recycling, fresh organic ingredients, gluten-free, and again, the community social responsibility. So a lot of green brands enter the marketplace with this list. And this is the list that they consider, because this list is really geared towards the consumer perception of what sustainability is. Now, in my next slide, I will reveal what sustainability actually looks like in the value chain. So in the value and supply chain of creating any one product, there's a lot more to consider, and the environmental and consumer or social impact goes beyond the things in the slide before. So the first thing is a water strategy. So there's something called an ISO 4046, and this is a water footprint standard. This looks at how water is consumed in the process of making an actual product. So basically, for any brand looking to get the green seal of approval, there is a disparity between what consumers expect, what retailers and manufacturers are doing, and what actually sustainability is. But nonetheless, that green seal of approval can be achieved. So to get that, all you need to do is tackle sustainability from a consumer concern. So you can slap gluten-free, cruelty-free, have a community social responsibility project, and essentially someone gives you a seal. So the challenge essentially is, how do we have principles for a single market? If you think that one product is made by 100 suppliers on average, from the packaging, the printing, and the number of people that you would speak to, essentially what the industry is crying out for is transparency, reliability, completeness, an ability to be able to compare what that standard of sustainability actually is. The opportunity for independent brands, and this is the fun part, lots of young brands have the opportunity to tell more stories about where their products come from. I always say, cool kids always inform what the norm becomes. And essentially, independent brands are the cool kids in the beauty market. They can also have science-based goals, which help them improve their credibility and their reputation. And a commitment to social value. I think younger brands have the ability to storytell because they're real people. You can share the story of the people that you employ, the communities that you directly impact, and that's something that's actually tangible, and the consumer will buy into that. Lastly, there's the ingredient composition. So local suppliers and indigenous ingredients aren't commodities. It means that for an independent brand, the economies of small and making in small batches, in this instance, is actually an advantage, because you get to work with way more exciting ingredients. You get to pioneer some cool things, and the market tends to follow you. All you have to do is have the right marketing to make sure that everyone gives you the credit for it. Tapping into artisan communities to help make your product, so that potter, that cartoonist, that painter, that illustrator, I think tends to not just lend itself to giving your brand identity, but also gives you more of a story that the consumer, as we found out, cares about. So that's it for me. Thank you very much. If you guys would like to learn more about Malée, you can find us at maleeonline.com.
So much more busy than I thought.
I know. It's very, very good, isn't it?
I was like, at one point, I felt like I was screaming. I didn't think I could hear myself. I was like, I hope they can hear me.